Welcome to season 2 of the Energy Upgrade podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa, master biohacker and successful entrepreneur. In season 1 of the Energy Upgrade, you got to have a taste for my obsession in all things health, energy, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and biohacking, or how to take radical responsibility in living a life by design. As a certified health coach, integrated health practitioner, kinesiologist, and seasoned entrepreneur who built and sold a 7-figure business, I want to dive deeper in this season 2. After healing myself from burnout, from my health falling apart, my hormones leaving my body, I'm here to share everything I wish someone had told me. Every day, I have the incredible opportunity to be mentoring women and supporting them in becoming true magnetic energy bombs. I'm helping them remember who they were all along. It's so powerful that I want to take you in on the journey, almost as if you were a fly on the wall. You'll find that I'm not your typical health coach, and I'm not your typical business coach either. I'm somewhere in between with a lot of spirituality sprinkled in there. This podcast is a sacred place where I come and share with you things that will bring you a high return on investment, because yes, I'm all about ROI. Life goes fast, and if I can show you a shortcut or two, I'll have succeeded at bringing you value. Thank you for being here. Let's go.
Your time is now. Your energy is your life force. You want to be able to magnetize your wildest dreams. A liver detox is the fastest way to start healing. You can and you will.
Welcome back to another episode of the Energy Upgrade. This is your host, Vanessa Grutman, and today I'm joined by my husband, Bill.
Hello.
So some of you who follow us on Instagram, you may have seen the big news last week. Yeah, we have a new team member. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Vanessa. I'm very happy to be part of your team now, your dream team.
So the intention for today, which is really interesting because as this is going to air, yesterday was the eclipse. We're actually recording this on Eclipse Day, which is sort of under the theme of clean slate, starting fresh, new possibilities, leaving the old behind. So I find that really interesting that your first official week where you left corporate starts on Eclipse Day. So just kind of putting that out there.
It's probably all calculated. That's my brain, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I work.
Maybe you planned it.
Yeah, I planned it.
So the intention for today is really to bring some inspiration to any of you listening. Maybe you've been in the corporate for a while and there's maybe this little glimpse in your head, in your heart of what would it look like if I was to leave? What would it look like if I was to stay? Am I here for more impact? Is this it? So if you've ever contemplated any of these questions, our intention today is kind of to share, why Phil decided to do this big move after 23 years in the corporate as a acclaimed leader in the world of actuaries and consulting, and you've been particularly in benefits. But yeah, so I guess maybe you can start. I shouldn't be speaking for you, but this has been a dream that I've always had. I've always loved power couples, always admired couples that were working together towards a same goal. And here we are now making it happen. So what's been going on in your head?
A lot. And it's not just like over the last few weeks or months. It's been like years that, we're talking about it. Like, would it be great, like, to be together, like in a kind of like some kind of like adventure. And yeah, it was very interesting because I feel like last year when you started after you sold everything, you started fresh. And once again, I was always like the safety net. So I was like, okay, you can start whatever you want. I'll be by your side. I'll help you here and there, night, weekends, right? And then I saw you growing your new business and successfully growing your new business, which was quite impressive. You work hard. And then at some point I was like, you know what? Maybe you need help, because I saw a few signs here and there but at the same time, it's scary, right? Like I said, like I've been the safety net for so many years, 23 years in the corporate world. Everything is made like designed in a way that you don't want to leave because every time you get a promotion, every time you get something, there's some always like a little bit of a perk, right? And you're getting more perks, then you're thinking, okay, if I leave, am I gonna leave all of this behind and start like from scratch, from zero? That's pretty scary. So yeah, there was like a lot of back and forth and yeah, scary moments and then at some point I was like, you know what, let's just do it. Let's just do it because if we don't do it,
Now,
now I feel like in a few years I'll look back and say, maybe my life would have been different, right? What is the risk? Like I join you now, give it a try. Things are perfect, great. Things are not going exactly the way we thought. Maybe I can do a few phone calls and I'm back in the corporate world, right? Like it's so it's like, you know, minimizing like the risk. It's all about like, well, that's my life, right? Like
yeah,
trying
that's you, not
risk
me.
aversion, right?
But I guess for anybody listening, you know, what Phil went through was actually the first signs you had that there was a misalignment was your body started
Oh, yeah.
to shut down. So as you were contemplating these thoughts, wondering, geez, is this it? Is this like, could I help more? Can I have more impact? Could I contribute in a bigger way? Could we be in better sync also? Because, you know, there's a level of freedom when you have your own business, entrepreneurship that you don't have when you're in corporate, even though you've always been, you know, in a really great position. But at one point, and that started last year, your body was shutting down.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think 2023, you were sick probably 11 months of the year.
Oh, I was sick all the time. I was like runny nose or a cold, sore throat, like always something, right? Always something. And the energy was down as well. And I'm never sick. I'm
You,
seriously, I'm
how long have we been together? You're doing the math.
17 years together.
17 years together, and I never saw him sick. Like I'm not kidding.
You know, things here.
I
and
mean,
there,
I can
nothing.
count on one hand.
Yeah.
And last year, it was back to back to back. And remember what I was telling you.
What were you doing?
I just knew it was happening. I just
That-
was like,
it's
this
somatic,
is
it's like
is
there's-
somatic.
yeah,
That your
yeah.
body is speaking to you. Like you are gonna have to make a decision at one point because this path you're walking is just not aligned with your gifts and all the things that you have to share in this lifetime. Like you're only touching maybe 5% of everything
What I
you
can
could
get.
do.
Yeah.
And but I also said, you know, because my tendency is to save people. And I've been working really hard on stopping that because you can't be a coach and try to save people. That's not going to work for anybody. And so I just said, this is your path. You have to walk this and you have to feel like shit, I guess. And then you have to decide for yourself. I can't decide for you. And so you did the work. You really did.
I did a lot of work from meditation to clinical counselor. I mean, hi Kelly, if you're ever listen. Yeah, I did a lot of work from work on myself.
You started reading books
Reading a lot
that
of
I had
books.
bought for you over the years and you had never opened and you just went back to all of them and
Yeah, one is Big Lead, the other one is
letting go.
Letting Go. I mean, all these books, of course, like some people might have read them, but and maybe it's all like, well, it's all common sense, but it was just good for me to do that work, right? Like, I mean, instead of watching Netflix, not I'm a big like TV guy, but like every night you would see me, okay, Phil is reading again. I was just like, I was into it. Like I was like, okay, I need to do some work. No one will do it for me. Even Vanessa, normally she would say, well, Phil, let's do this and then I'll book you some appointments. But this time she was like, no, figure it out. Like do your own work because I'm not going to help you if I do it for you. Right?
Well, because the worst thing is I didn't want him to take a decision for me.
Yeah, for you.
I wanted him to take a decision for him. And for that to happen, he had to have his wake up call, but you also had to get on the floor. You had to get like in full body shut down. I remember one night you were like literally purging.
Oh yeah.
It was so crazy. And like I could see how torn you were inside. Like your head was like, you can't let go of this big title, this big label. What are people gonna think? What they're gonna think we're crazy? What are they gonna say? You can't let that career behind. And then meanwhile, your heart was just like, just F it. Let's try it. Let's give it a try. So it was that duality, I think, that made you suffer longer.
Oh,
It
yeah.
kind of
Oh,
put you
yeah.
on the ground.
Well, fall was the worst. Like, I mean, fall was like, there was a lot of good stuff happening on my professional life. Like, it's not like I was like, not treated well or anything, but it's just like my buddy was sending me so many messages, and I was like, why? And normally, I know a lot of people will just say, well, I'm just sick. It's fall, and it's just the way it is. Kids are bringing some bugs back from school, but you're not supposed to be more sick than your kids.
No.
I mean, you're supposed to look at them, treat like help them and everything, but then they would come back and oh God, what I'm gonna catch again. But seriously, it would have been easy for me just to say, okay, spring will come, thing will be okay. I mean, nice vitamin D, right? Like everything will be perfect. But then all of a sudden I was like, no, it's not that it's not perfect or it's perfect, but
Yeah, it was I think it was a very enlightening experience
yeah,
for
totally,
you.
totally.
And I think it was hard to deny the evidences at one point because you were in total denial probably for the
Oh, yeah.
first 6 months.
Oh yeah, I was.
And then the fall hit and you were like, holy shit, there's really something wrong. Sorry. But and then meanwhile, I was just like, having a little chat with the universe, being like, great, this is going well according to the plan. He's waking up. That's great, because I didn't want to interfere. So one thing that was coming up for you as you were doing this like massive, I guess, reorganization in your body and your heart and your mind and your soul, all the things, was this piece of, you've always been the main provider. Like you said earlier, you've always been the safety net. You've always provided the financial security while I was, doing all these crazy things. And so for you to let go of that was massive. Like you had to do a lot of work on that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because you're like, okay, I'm leaving all of this behind, like, bonuses, stocks, and all kind of like great perks, right? Like it's almost like
And
you know
even just like
exactly.
a salary,
Yeah,
right? Because
salary.
entrepreneurship, you never know.
Yeah, totally. Because yeah, the salary, I'm thinking about all of this, like
Yeah,
all the
the
stuff that goes
package.
around, but it's almost like you know exactly how much you're gonna make like in 5 years, pretty much,
Yeah.
or 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Give or take. And then to jump into an adventure where I don't know, like there might be a month where we make nothing, and then another month where it's like, wow, we just made the same as a full year. So that's the piece that was a little scary, of course. I'm an actuary by trade, so I had to do some spreadsheets and do some maths and just to see, are we gonna be okay? And then I did the math. I was like, actually, yes, we'll be fine. It's okay. I mean, not just because we have enough money or not enough money. It's just it's okay. Things will happen. If if we have the positive mindset, we're gonna attract that money. That's gonna come, right? Like if we're always negative and we're always in that fear that we won't have enough, then this is where it's going to be painful and this is where money won't come to us, right? I'm not saying like everything will be magic. We'll work hard, but at the same time, I was like, no, it's going to be okay. I looked at you, Vanessa, so many times, and you're so inspiring on that front, right? Like it's just
Someone listened to my master classes, it looks like.
but it's gonna happen. We have to stop worrying about like money, and money is just like it's energy, right?
Uh-huh. Okay, this is very, very foreign for me to hear you speak like this,
Yeah.
but I love it. I love this side of you now that's coming out. And so, you had the courage. We went to Costa Rica. You wanted to really reflect on this was sort of the final way for you to go back inside and be like, okay, am I really doing this? And you
Yeah.
came back from it and you were like, let's go. We're
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's opening up something so big for us because the conversations we had was like, okay, yeah, you could keep going, but the truth is you're not fully happy right now. So that's not going to go away. And for anybody listening, I know so many women I work with, when they first come to me, that's exactly how they feel. Their body, for women, it's more their hormones, and they feel like they're in burnout. You were flirting with burnout as well.
Yeah.
And it's just like your whole body is shutting down, trying to get your attention. And when you decide to stop and listen, it's pretty incredible, the things that can happen and the courage you can find. Because I always say chase the fear, and that's what we did. I was like, okay, so we realize in 6 months it's not working. We we hate each other and we're fighting all the time, or the money's not coming. What do? Oh, I'm just gonna send a few emails, and seriously, you'll be hired in probably 5 minutes. You're highly employable, let's just say that. And then that's all it took for you to be like, huh, yeah, okay, let's do this. Let's give this a try. Because we've always had this vision of, building our little family empire. We're going to call it that way, where we can travel around the world, bring it with us, show our kids, new adventures, and really, create a legacy for them is also. That's always been something we wanted. And, it's interesting because even when you look at financial investments and things like that, I always told you, I was like, I'm not worried about this. I know we're going to be building like something so incredible. But of course, we're still doing our due diligence there. But, I've always had this deep knowing, this deep conviction that we just have to trust, and we just have to align our strengths and our forces. And it's just going to be amazing from there. Yeah.
I agree 100%. And something I can add also, like, with my move, is that sometimes you forget when you're so into it that you're not opening yourself to maybe other opportunities, and something will come. So now that I'm almost like 100% dedicated to you, right? Like, I have already something else like that came up, and I was like, wow, okay. So, things are just because you're opening yourself, right? And then things are shifting, and then you're like, okay, so it's not totally the end, which is great. And then now I can totally focus. So I found that very interesting to see that kind of like shift when you open to other opportunities.
Well, it's not so much opening, but when you're sending a clear message, which is what you did to, the universe, whatever you believe in, of, okay, this is not in alignment. I'm going to take one next move. My next foot is going to go in the direction of what's more aligned for me. And then, laws of attraction. If you do a move, the universe does a move. You're not going to, and the thing is, when you stay ruminating, when you're not happy and you stay in a place of low frequency, the universe is just like, well, you're not moving. So I can't, I can't push anything your way. So when you make a move, then suddenly everything changes. Like your entire path changes. And even, we can talk about a little bit of our vision for your role in the business, but even that I know is going to evolve so much. And that's the cool part, is we don't know, maybe in a year from now, who knows what you'll be handling, because who knows what opportunities are going to come our way. Have you ever wondered what kind of high achiever woman you are? Because that's right, we're not all created equal. What high achieving means to me might be completely different to you. And that's why I've created the quiz, What Kind of High Achieving Woman Are You? In my time working with high achieving women, I've discovered that there's 4 personas that keep coming up. And I've created a quiz because I just find it so fun to discover who are you? What is your persona? And how do you go about life, about your health, about your business, about your career, your soul's calling? This quiz will explore all of that, and the answers are going to blow your mind. If you haven't taken the quiz yet, seriously, take 5 minutes. I'm going to put the link in the show notes, and go have fun with that. And let me know what you are. Come and tell me in the DM. But let's talk about, what the heck are you going to be doing?
Yeah, my exact role is whatever Vanessa doesn't like to do. That's pretty much it. when you think about it,
precisely. It's
precise.
exactly that.
You'll see that in my signature. But what I'm gonna do, well, it's funny because like anything that is finance, that's the other thing. Going back to corporate or going back to whatever I was doing before is like sometimes you forget that I've learned a lot of new skills, right? It's not like I'm not the same person as 23 years ago, right? Sometimes I forget, okay, manage a team, manage a P&L, manage like that. There's a lot of stuff going on there that you can easily translate somewhere else, even though it's not exactly the same field as what I was doing before, right? But it took me some time, right, to realize. And you're like, Phil, it's not like you're not even close to what you were doing 23 years ago, right? Like what you're doing now is pretty much like almost like entrepreneurial, like taking care of your own business, but with the corporate like kind of world.
Because you were leading the Vancouver office and
an amazing team that we put together, and we had like so much like fun, right? But there was like a time at some point I had to move on and transition off, right? So but it was very interesting to like, okay, yeah,
that's exactly what we're gonna do
exactly.
here.
Like I can do this with Vanessa again, right?
Yeah.
And so my role, I mean, every time she gets like an email from the accountant, she's like, every time she gets like, download me this report for I don't know, government, like, oh, what is this again? And then she's like, oh no, Phil.
Well, here's the thing is I know, and I think and not that I wanted to show you this, but I think I've been able to show you that I can do anything in my business. Like I can do anything, but at the point I'm at, and I think this is important, when you start out, I really believe it's important to be able to know how to do a newsletter, how to talk to the accountant, know your numbers. Like I know all of this and I've done it. Now we're at a point where we see the potential to scale, and I can't be doing that stuff. I can't be like an octopus with hands everywhere because I'm not in what ends up happening is I'm not in my zone of genius like 50% of the time. And when I'm not in my zone of genius, then I'm not connecting with all of you. I'm not adding value. I'm not doing master classes. I'm not doing events. I'm not showing up. And that's really how our business is. It's a business of impact. And so we realized, and what's incredible, and we're really lucky that way, and we've always known this, is anything that's not in my zone of genius is actually your zone of genius. So anything that's more the analytical mind, anything that's more operational as well, you're awesome at that. Anything that, you're also such a great empowering leader. So even building a team, that's something I've done also, but it's not something I necessarily, have on my top 5 list of being a genius for, but you do, emotional intelligence and leadership is something you're really good at. So
yeah, 100%. And I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with all the systems and all the stuff you've done over the last year, because I was like, okay, and you're like, well, if I can do it, Phil, you can do it, because at some point, like, I don't know anything about these new things, right? But it's very impressive. I think it's, to your point, it's important to understand, but then at some point you have to, okay, pass it to someone else who can do it, not necessarily better than you, but that is going to be efficient, enjoys doing it, and then you can focus on being your zone of genius for sure.
Because that, maybe we can share some of our vision for the new year with you coming in is really to create this highly efficient business where we can be so committed and so focused to our clients, elevating the customer experience, whether it's on the online store, whether you're buying a detox, or whether you're in a coaching program for 12 months, like at any point, wherever you fit in our customer journey, we want to be able to offer you even better service. And right now I was falling short. Again, I just was like an octopus. And I also started to notice, and I think you picked up on that too, that at times, I just couldn't be walking the talk. Like I couldn't really be applying the things I'm teaching at one point because I was just so busy and overwhelmed with like tasks and things to do as I was trying to grow on my own. But now we're approaching, almost $1 million since this business was built, which is pretty wild. We're talking 15 months in. Yeah, 15 months.
Yeah.
So we have big hopes, and we know that we can also make our message, we can have more impact. We can impact more women, and in many different ways, new ways, creative ways, innovative ways. And that's what we're excited to be doing. And with you by my side, being able to work on the back end, the funnels. And for those of you who are building an online business, there is just so much nowadays to know. And yes, AI is there, but it's certainly not replacing ever a human being, in my opinion. Just the thinking, the strategy, being able to put in place all these things. And that's the place where, and building a team also, like we want a small team of superstars.
Yeah, 100%.
You and me have both led big teams, and we don't really have a desire for
Smaller.
big teams anymore.
No, for sure.
Small but mighty.
Yeah, exactly.
And our 2 kids want to be on the payroll already.
Yeah, they said that, right? Like they're already helping when we ship stuff, and yeah, customer service oriented already.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add for your vision, maybe for this?
While customer service is so important, as every time I'm in touch with customers, it's always like take this next level. Maybe just a side thing, but when we had our Airbnb, I was like super host in no time, just because I want to make sure they have the best day in their life, right? They come to your place and same like when you saw me there was some issues with some packages that we didn't get on time because of customs. And we were making phone calls like nonstop and sending apologies to people that were waiting. But for me, it was just like I was trying to figure like, okay, how can we make it better? Because this is driving me crazy. This is not a good reflection of what we can give. We want to be always, it's just a small example, but we want to be always top. So people are not even wondering, should I order through them or should I use like Vanessa's service? Like, no, they're like, they know it's going to be like red carpet. They know it's going to be always like top notch, like top of the line services. So I think you have done amazing, and there's still a lot we can do there, and we can work together to make sure that customer service, customer experience is just like,
yeah. And that's how I built my previous business, interestingly, was by having a completely unique customer journey and customer experience. So I know this is important. And we want this brand to also be like a high level brand where that, it's turnkey. You can come in and feel held and supported and guided, and you will come out completely different on the other end. Yeah. So that's the vision. So welcome aboard.
Thanks, Vanessa.
You might be, so if any of you is entering our universe, if any of you is ordering on our online store, you might be in communication with Phil and get used to seeing more of him. And even I think I'm going to bring you as a coach in some programs. I haven't talked to you about that too much yet, but I have that idea in my head. You have so much to offer. So I'm excited. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for listening to your heart.
Well, thanks for your guidances. Thanks for believing in me since the beginning. It's a dream come true right now, and maybe it's just a honeymoon, but I think it's going to be a long honeymoon. So yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. Okay. Thank you again for listening. Thank you for being here. I hope this brought you a little dose of inspiration. That was our intention. That if you are in the corporate, if you've been contemplating a move, that, maybe the time is now, because if you stay, or maybe it's time to just ask yourself and contemplate, what else could I be doing to bring value into this world? So Phil, you're doing it. You're doing it. Thank you. Thank you. The information shared on this podcast is for information purposes only and doesn't provide any medical advice. Vanessa Grutman does not cure, diagnose, or treat disease. Please consult your physician before trying any new protocol or product.